Space is something that we don't see as it actually is. And that's a problem because space, as it actually is reality. As the sage Shiva Rudra Balayogi says, when somebody walks into a room, they seldom notice the space that's in the room. They notice the objects that are in the room, but very seldom the space. And there's a reason for this, and that is that we define space. We see it through our own definitions. We see space as the space between things. We see space as what fills objects. Science defines space as vector-based, as something that can bend. And so we're conditioned to see space in a certain way, and so it just becomes something mundane or something that we overlook or take for granted. However, space is actually something that is extraordinary. It's an extraordinary thing, and that's what we're going to look at today. How you can actually see space the way it actually is, which is what the term ontologically means. Ontologically is to do with the being of something. So we start in the ontological insight system in OIS by first saying and defining space apophetically. Apophetically means we define something by what it isn't. How do we do that? Well, with space, we say that it is featureless and it is boundless. Now, if you think about that, just let those words settle for a moment. They should just click in. Of course space is featureless. Of course it is boundless. Now, that's actually not how we experience it every day. We experience it in a featured way as the space between things, or in a bound way. It's something that fills objects, right? But actually it's featureless and boundless. It has no features and no boundaries. Now, when we contemplate this, when we let this settle in, what that does is it's, as I said, an apophetic or a negative definition. It clears away all those other definitions that we have so that we can see it as it really is. And then we can see that when we say that it is featureless, there's a positive meaning to that. And then when we say it is boundless, there's a positive, not definitional meaning, ontological realization. A child does not think of space in any conceptual way. They realize space. And we can realize space. You can realize space right now. In fact, it really is a featureless reality that you can apply your consciousness to and realize. It is boundless. There is no end to space. And you can apply your attention to space and realize that. Objects arise and fall in space, but the space itself does not change. Now, here's something that is absolutely fascinating. If you take a look at your own mind, we can apply the same sort of apophetic reduction to your own mind. Your own mind is featureless and boundless as well. Now, we're accustomed to thinking of our mind as a structure that has cognitive capacities and et cetera, et cetera. But the mind itself, thoughts arise in the mind and fall in the mind. Images arise and fall in the mind without distorting or changing the mind in any way. It, like space, is featureless and boundless. Now, when something arises, when an object, a physical object, arises and falls away in space, we consider it space. We think of it in terms of space. When a thought comes and goes, we think of that in terms of the mind. But those things don't actually affect what they are arising or falling within. So actually the mind and space are not different at all. They're the same reality, the same ontological reality. So then in fact there's actually no difference or separation between anyone or anything. So this is just a sample, a taste of ontological reality and the ontological insight system. Go to the bio, click on the link, and I'll send you something and you can get started. Thank you.